G'day guys, Peter here from Oz Commercial Sewing Machines. Today's video is going to be taking a preview and a brief look at our new model to our collection, the Prosew D9, which is a straight plane sewer, fully automatic with thread trimmer. It's got everything that you could ever want on a machine, except for zigzag. In industrial machines, zigzag is a separate machine altogether. So let's get into this and see what this machine has to offer. We'll start with the screen, and as you can see from taking a really quick look at it, it is almost identical to our Prosew PS-D9 33B, which is our fully automatic walking foot machine, top of the line, and also the same as our 1987B, which is our mid-range slash top of the line plane sewer as well. So there is another machine that has similar to the 87A, but we won't go into those at this time. So what we've got here is our touch panel. It's not a touch screen, the screen doesn't touch. These are buttons. So we'll start with the digital stitch length. So we can go from a 0 stitch length all the way up to, I believe it's 7mm on this machine. It might be 6, no it is 6, okay. So we've got a maximum stitch length of 6mm. Which is fine. You don't usually need to go much more than that on a plane sewer. Walking foot machines are different. They go up to around about 8 or 9mm. Okay, so we'll concentrate over here on the right hand side. We've got the start tack. Okay, so you can have a 1 as a double, and then you've got the W. Okay, and you can turn it off. So we normally set that to AB, which means that the machine will come forward and then go back and then start sewing. If you have it on this one, the B, it will just sew and then it'll come forward. So we like to make it go back as well, just to reinforce. Okay, then you've got your end tack. I'll show you how these operate in a second. Once we go through the buttons, we'll show you what they do. So that's the start tack. Now the CD is the end tack. So this is what it does as a reinforcing stitch at the end of your seam line. So you've got the same options there. So you've got a single, and then you've got the standard, and then you've got the double. So we'll leave it at what we put it on. Now we also have a soft start, which starts off, the first 2 stitches are slower before you enter into the speed that you've put on. But if you're under, I think it's about 400 or 600 stitches a minute, that's not going to have much effect because that's what it's set at. So you really won't notice that unless you've set the speed to 5,000 or somewhere around there. So we'll put that on anyway. It shows us a little curve on the screen down there. Okay, now this button here is our thread trimmer. At the moment we've got it turned off. So all we need to do to turn the thread trimmer on is push that button and we get this picture of the scissors. So that occurs when you heel back all the way and finish the seam line. Okay, so they're the common ones. This one here is your pincher or the nipper. So it will determine how the thread is dealt with at the start. So we'll turn that on. Okay, this one here determines whether or not the knee lift activates as well as the foot lift, or whether one of them is taken away. This one here is the foot lift. Okay, you can see the buttons down here. So first one is at the end. Okay, so the foot lifts it'll trim, the foot lifts, and it'll stay up for a set amount of time. This one here is your pivot. Okay, so during your sewing, if you want to turn your work, that means that the foot will come up anyway automatically in the middle of a seam. You can have both of those on. We'll leave them both on. Apart from that, this one here is your dent stitch. Okay, so that provides a couple of stitches before it starts the start and also after the end tack. So we can turn that on. All right, now we'll show you how some of these work. This is a sample that I've done previously, just when I was testing this machine, so I'll just continue on with it. Now, this is going to pretty much show you all of the functions that are turned on. I've left them all turned on from when we set them all previously. So let's go for it and see what we got. So it'll start with a dent stitch, then it'll go into the start tack, then it'll sew at 2.5mm stitch length, then it will do the end tack, then it will do the dent stitch, and then it will cut and the foot will lift automatically. There we go. Now, it's still a little bit dirty, but you can see there's a couple of really tiny little stitches there to start with, which is the dent stitch. Then we've got the 3 start tacks. Then we've got the sewing. Then at the end, you'll see we've got the 3 end tacks, and then we've got the 2 dent stitches just to lock everything in. Now from the back, this is what it looks like. Okay, those 2 little dent stitches, they just lock everything in, so nothing's going to pull out. That's at the end and the start. Now see how it's all bunched up in there and you've got a little bird's nest? That's what happens when you have the nipper on. If I take that nipper off, you'll see something totally different. So I'll take that nipper off and I'll do the stitch again. Okay, so the nipper's off. Now you can see we've got tails. Now they're curled under, but see that one there? That's where, and then this one, there is a tail there somewhere, but I think it looks like it's all taken up in the dent stitch. But you can see that there's nothing there, nothing at all. So this is normally pulled underneath, and that's what it does to it. It's a big bird's nest. Without the nipper on, it's quite neat. So that's a basic overview now of the buttons and the functions. Now this machine also has the quarter stitch. Okay, if you need to get into any tight places, that's a pre-programmed stitch length based on what you leave up there. It's got a half stitch. Now this is a constant sewing button or a needle up, needle down, depending on how it's set up internally. And this is your digital or reverse switch. Okay, so there's no lever on the machine to do reverse. This is your reverse right here. So you just push this and it reverses. Now it is a dry sump. I'll just pull the machine up and we'll have a look at what's underneath. All right, so we've laid the machine back so that we can see what's underneath. Now this is your sealed oil pan. Okay, it's bolted to the machine, so all the oil, it lives inside the machine. There's no oil down in here. This is all clean, so it's easy to keep your machine nice and tidy and clean. You can blow it out, you can brush it out, whatever Whatever method you use is fine on this one. Doesn't really matter because you're not going to put any fluff where it doesn't need to go, and there's no oil under here to get it stuck to. So we've got a single large stepping motor under here which controls three items. So what we've got here, this is your stitch length and reverse. Over here, this side of this stepping motor, we've got the foot lift, and we also have the thread trimmer. So one direction is foot lift and the other direction is the thread trimmer. Now you can see all the oil pipes that are going through to lubricate the hook area. And there's your bobbin case, and your hook assembly is right here. Now that's your thread trimmer. It's a double knife system, so it's quite nice. And having the stepping motor instead of solenoids is all very quiet, so you can use this and not worry about waking anybody up. It's so quiet. Now, a lot of our customers are quite pleased with that fact, that you can still sew and not make any noise. It's very quiet. Okay, so that's a look at the underside of the machine. Now we've jumped back up to the top of the machine just to have a look at a few of the other functions that it has. Now, all of our machines get a built-in USB for either charging your phone. You can run whatever you want to off of that standard USB. We can run lighting through that, extra lighting if you need to. Now we've got a top-mounted bobbin winder. You can see that up there. This is the sight glass to make sure that the oil is pumping through the top of the head. And apart from that, it's pretty much a standard. Now they do come standard with the marked needle plate. So we got the 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch and a 1 inch markings on the needle plate. You've got a nice little accessories area over here. And you've got your presser foot pressure regulator up here. You do have to do a little bit of manual oiling, but there's not much, and it's not all the time. I've got this rigged up with standard overlock thread, which is a lot lighter than the other thread, the standard thread. So it sews light, and it can also do heavy. You can run M40 through this machine on a size 100 needle, no problem at all. To load it with oil, there's a big black rubber stopper here. You just pull that out and pour all your oil in. That's your sight glass there to know how much oil is in the system. Generally anywhere up around this mark. It doesn't have to be at the mark, but as long as it's around the mark and it's showing oil and it's pumping, then you know you're good to go. If you are interested in the new D9 and you live in Australia, be sure and contact us. My shop name is S&P Sewing Supplies, or you can also order it through Adam at Prosew in Port Macquarie. You can look him up on Facebook, just search Prosew and his shop will be there, and you can contact him by phone or through Facebook Messenger. Please give us a thumbs up and like the video, and also subscribe to our channel, as it all helps. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.